What's going on, everybody? Rick HD back with another video, and today is all about handlebars, handlebar wiring, handlebar cables, handlebar extensions, all the above. A lot of you have had questions. A lot of you want to do handlebars, and if you've ever taken your bike to go get handlebars done, it's crazy expensive. It is some work, but it's not hard. It's not daunting. It's super easy. So whether you have old style or new style Harley Davidsons, I'm going to go over all the different facets and variables to install your handlebars, whether you're just extending the wires for ape hangers, whether you're installing all new bars, whether you're getting rid of old road shit like this and going to chrome and braided lines, whether you are doing T-bars, it doesn't matter. Follow this video, super easy. I'm gonna show you how to properly cut and splice wires and solder them versus just twisting them together and having this mess of wires, throwing off your continuity, throwing off your resistance. So if you've been wondering how to install handlebars or how to do handlebars, this is the perfect video for you. Follow along, let me know how I'm doing, like, share, subscribe, all that shit. Let's go. All right, so we got our new beautiful chrome hardware. Let me show you how to do your handlebars. This is your Deutsch connector. All you're gonna need for this is a flathead and a pick. That's it. Take your flathead, put it underneath the plastic tab, wiggle it back and forth, and it'll just pop right off. Super easy. If you look in here, there's these tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take your pick, press the tab forward, pull the bullet connector out. Super easy. When you're ready to put it back, just slide it back through the hole and it'll click into place. You'll hear an audible click. You don't need to cut your wires. This is actually safer and faster when it comes to doing handlebars. So now I'll just put this back on here. It's the rubber weather seal. Put the plastic back on and you're ready to go. When it comes to these newer style, so if you have any of the newer style bikes, it's going to come with these little, they're not going to be Deutsch connectors, they're going to be these smaller ones. It's the same principle. On the back, you're just going to take your pick in and push this tab down. Then you have access to your weather seal. In here, it's going to be the same thing, just a lot smaller. Watch. If you see these tabs back in here, you're going to slide this down underneath the tab and just pull the wire out. See how it comes right out? And then when you're ready to push it back in, and you're ready to go. So whether you have the old style Deutsch connectors or these new style, it's still the same principle, just with a smaller pick. So when you're pulling these through the handlebars, you want to make this as thin as possible because of all the turns. Take some electrical tape, put it around this, make it as thin as you can and really, really tight. The thinner it is, the easier it's going to be to pull through those handlebars. So everybody has different ways of doing their handlebars. This is just the way that I do it. I'll take a piece of string, I'll tie a nut at the end just for weight, and then I'll tie it to, I think this is like 18 gauge electrical wire. And the reason I like this, because when you're pulling it, it doesn't stretch. This sometimes will tear inside of the handlebars. Take this nut, put it up in here, just get my air hose, watch. Now you see down here, all you gotta do is take this nut, pull it out. So now that you have that pulled through, all you have to do is tie this end around your electrical wires, take electrical tape, make it really tight for when you're pulling, and then just push and pull, feed it down through the bottom. Super easy, super quick, doesn't have to be a bunch of headache. As you can see, I don't need the bars off, they're right here. Just, this is my least favorite part of building bikes, and that is electrical, but it's something that has to be done. This is my biggest pet peeve. You see all these connections right here? There was 3 separate connections on these wires, and here's the problem with that. When you cut the wire, you could damage it. When you're just twisting it together with heat shrink, you're throwing off the resistance, which could lead to the wire heating up. It could melt your internals. If a fuse doesn't blow, it could catch on fire. Trust me, I've seen it done before. So I hate this method. It's not a good one. Please do not do this. I'm going to show you today how to do this properly, how to map out each one of these wires and where they go in the corresponding Deutsch connector, and how to add new bullet connections at the end. Right, so these Deutsch connectors, they have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are correspondent with the wires and the wire color, so you won't get lost. They're both gray and black, so you know which one's left and right. Put those off to the side. We're gonna take our wires and we wanna make sure that we have them nice and clean. Everything is gonna be even. So when we go to cut these wires, you want all the wires the equal length. If they're off length, you're gonna have a hard time pulling them through. So make sure everything is at equal length. We're gonna pull these down and find a good place to splice. So right around here is a good place, because then if we need to go over it again, there's enough room to cut again. So I'm gonna take my dikes, cut these. Now I'm gonna come over here, grab my wire stripper, which is pretty easy. Just slide it in, click, and there we go. We have a wire. Do it with all of them. Take your 18 gauge wire, Break it out the package. Make sure you cut these at equal lengths and give yourself enough length. You can always cut it shorter. Take your wires and dip them in this soldering paste. What this does is it gives better insulation. It protects the wires. We're going to take the wires and fan them out on both sides. Make sure that they're equal. Get those each strand on each side fanned out equally. Slide them together like so. And once you get them together, you're going to take the ends of the black wire, the ends of the yellow wire, grab them together, and then twist in opposite directions. So one's going to go to the left, one is going to go to the right. So that way we have maximum connection, and this is just as good as a solid wire once we solder this together. So once we have that together and it looks good, make sure all the strands are down. Soldering's kind of difficult sometimes. A lot of people just want to tap it and it doesn't, or it'll stick to the soldering gun. What you want to do is tap and pull. So you're just pulling it. Now we have a great connection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this heat shrink and put it down over our soldered connection for double insulation. And that's it. Now I'm just going to take my lighter, heat shrink these down. So now that we have everything soldered and heat shrunk with double insulation, we're ready to go. I'm going to chase the wire down, and then at the end, I'm going to put this white electrical tape. Just wrap it around once. Doesn't have to be pretty and fancy. Tear it off. Going to take my marker. You can either do the number for the Deutsch connector, or you can do the color of the wire, whatever works for you. For me, I like using numbers. It's just easier because, like we showed you earlier, these are numbered, this will be numbered, easy day. If you don't know what color the wires are and where they go, you can always Google your year, make, model, handlebar wire diagram, and something will pop up to help you out. Now we have our newly soldered wires all wrapped up in electrical tape. We put it to the end of the string pull that we put in earlier. Now I'm going to do is feed it through. So I'm just going to push and pull, nice and easy. There it is. All I'm going to do is pull this out, push this up. That's it. Easy day. Take this bullet connector and all you do is drop it in the hole like that. Make sure it's flush. You take your terminal, put it in. That's it. So with the rubber seal, it's easier to put it inside the Deutsch connector before you slide the bullet connectors in. They slide right in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one, put it to one, push it through. And like I was saying earlier, when you push this through, you can see it come up and you'll hear an audible click when it's in place. It's that easy. Replacing the clutch cable is super simple. All you're gonna need is a 7/16 wrench. Hit this lefty loosey or counterclockwise to remove it from the housing. Once you get to a certain point, you can pull it right out. Now there's an O-ring right here that you have to replace. Do not forget this. I've seen a lot of dudes forget this, and then there's oil everywhere. So you're gonna take your C-clip pliers, put these down in the grooves, and when you're doing this, keep your hand over it and on a flat surface because there is ball bearings in there that will go everywhere. Now we're just gonna take the plate and rotate it to where it just slides right out of the connector. That's it. Inspect it, and then we're going to do the same thing with the connector. Just going to take that, rotate it until it slides right off of the end of your clutch cable, and then we can just remove the clutch cable. And here are the ball bearings that I was talking about. These little bastards will go everywhere. So when it comes to these old style clutches, you can see right here that you have a lock nut, and then these are also threaded. You need 2 1/2-inch wrenches. This is your lock nut. You're going to break that off, put this all the way forward. We're going to screw this all the way forward to where it's touching. When you have this off the bike, crack this wide open, you put your cable in here, then you take this little plastic sleeve washer thing, put it in there like that, close it, and you are going to drag it out. Now when you tighten this back up, it's going to go to here and it won't be able to come out. So once you have this on the bike, and as you back this out, because it's threaded, it'll get tighter. Once you have it where you want it, you crank down that lock nut, take the 2 1/2-inch wrenches and break that down. Same thing with when you're removing a clutch cable, you're not going to be able to remove it unless you take all the slack out of it. It'll be too tight. That's it. So it's kind of difficult for me to do this and be able to show you, so I'll just show you on the side here. When you're putting in your throttle cables on these old style throttles, this back barrel here, this is for your idle cable. So your idle cable is going to come around and you're going to put the barrel inside of here. The front, this is going to be your throttle cable. That's going to come down here. When it comes to your throttle and return cables, see this little notch groove right here? You're going to have a washer type O-ring thing that goes in there. And that's for when you place it underneath here, you're just going to press it really hard, pop it in. And then you have these little barrel connectors. One side's flat, one side's open. You take the open part, you put it in, you rotate it back, and now it won't go anywhere. And then you're ready to put it up through into your barrel housings. So make sure you don't lose these. Don't just push these on and drop them, because this thing will come off and you will not find it. All you do is you just pop them in, push them hard, and they'll stick up in there. Right, so that's it. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And the reason I do these videos is because I want you to spend less money at the shop, less downtime at the shop, more money on your bike, more money on the road, more time on the road. You can do this. It's super easy. It's super simple. That's why these videos, it's critical for me to make sure I break it down Barney style so that you understand how to do this, because I want you to work on your own shit. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel. Head over to rickyhd.com, pick you up some t-shirts, pick you up some swag so when you fly in the brand. And if you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comments. Shoot me an email, rickyhdperformance@gmail.com. Until next time, peace.